A historical milestone was marked in Washington, D.C. Elsa Horteris is in the D.C. Bureau with that story and other news from the nation's capital.
Wednesday marked the 10th anniversary of DACA, or Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. The program delays deportation for some undocumented immigrants, but that Obama-era policy has never been put into law, and advocates want to change that, as Daisy Gonzalez-Perez reports from our Washington, D.C. Bureau.
It's been 10 years of DACA, but it hasn't been enough, and we need a permanent solution now.
Yesenia Romales, a 29-year-old from Phoenix, has had DACA since it was enacted in 2012. But there are millions of other undocumented immigrants in the U.S. who are not covered, which brought protesters to Washington this week.
It has definitely granted me a lot of opportunities, but it's also shown me that it's not a permanent solution and it's not an encompassing solution to our whole community.
DACA provides temporary relief from deportation for those who were brought here to the U.S. at a young age. The renewable protection allows recipients to seek employment, get a driver's license, and more for 2 years at a time. But that protection is not permanent, something advocates say has to change.
DACA is a temporary relief. It was enacted as such, and a permanent solution, it's due, way overdue now.
Advocates say one way to do that would be to pass the Dream and Promise Act. It would make DACA permanent, but also expand coverage to others.
We know that DACA is not enough. There are too many people who are living with uncertainty in their status in this country, that face deportation, that live in fear, and that are hiding in the shadows of our society. I think it is time we end that.
It would benefit me because I wouldn't have the cloud of concern and worry over my head constantly. You know, you're having to plan your life in 2-year chunks because that's how long your visa lasts for. And
that bill passed the House but stalled in the Senate. Jesus says Chicanos por la Causa will continue to fight for its passage, something Romales said is long overdue.
I think more than just asking for a pathway for us, it's remembering that there's more than 11 million undocumented people, and all of us need to have that weight come off of our shoulders.
In Washington, Daisy Gonzalez-Perez, Cronkite News.
The White House did release a statement yesterday celebrating DACA and its recipients, calling for action on legislation to make it permanent. But there has been no word from Congress on if a vote on the Dream and Promise Act is on the horizon. Also in Washington, President Joe Biden signed an executive order aimed at protecting LGBTQ youth. Some of the provisions within the order include protecting children from conversion therapy, as well as placing safeguards on programs that work towards suicide prevention with queer youth. The order also created an initiative for protecting foster youth. The president made sure to give a reminder to LGBTQ youth as well in his remarks.
My message to all the young people: just be you. You are loved. You are heard. You are understood. You do belong. And I want you to know that as your president, all of us on this stage have your back.
A new national task force was also announced yesterday, working to prevent online harassment and abuse, focusing on LGBTQ Americans, as well as women who are often more targeted online. That's it for our Capitol News Wrap. Back to you, Lauren.